What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Two for Two, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Quis. I'm here as always with my brother Nell. We're back with another episode for y'all today, man. It's season 3, episode 53. We're still doing our NFL previews, and you know what time it is. It's the AFC South and my Buccaneers NFC South. Let's do it. Nell, my brother, how you feeling today?
Doing great, man. Good spirits, man. I'm ready to talk about this NFC South. You got me turned up already.
I'm sure. We had to look. Me and Nell almost didn't make it to the pod because we was about to get into it, just chatting before the pod. So I told him I was gonna press the button and we could finish this conversation. But last week we got into the AFC West and the NFC West. Really good, John. Today, like I said, we get into the AFC South and the NFC South. Two interesting divisions. Two, I would say highly competitive, but maybe highly competitive for different reasons. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. We're gonna start over the AFC South. Last year, the Houston Texans came out of the AFC South, shocked everybody with a really, really good season. They had the Colts in that division as well. They lost Anthony Richardson early on in that season. You got the Titans, who had to go on a switch to Will Levis. We're post-Derrick Henry era now. And then lastly, we have our Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and those guys, man. Simple question to start off, man. This division had a lot of upgrades in the offseason. The Titans got a little bit better. Colts got a little bit better. Jags got a little bit better. Texans got a lot better. So simply, I guess I might have gave away my answer, but how much better did the division as a whole get? Is this still the Texas division, or did some other teams in this division close that gap a little bit?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the Texans got a lot better. So I think it's still their division, to really take control of. Jacksonville did, a couple pretty good signings, but, Titans are still, I don't think that good of a football team. They made some nice additions too, but I think most of the teams really stayed where they were at. I don't think Jacksonville's going to make that much noise this year. If Trevor Lawrence can stay healthy, they had a terrible stretch to end the season last year. They were 8-3 at one point. I think they ended the season like 1-4, 1-5 down the stretch. So they can kind of get off to a hot start and keep it that way. Maybe they can give the Texans, a run for their money. But still expect Houston to kind of maybe not run away with this division, but I would be shocked if we get down to the last couple weeks of the season and they're still in a fight for the division.
Yeah, it would be shocking. I think, far and away, CJ Stroud, what he did in his rookie season, amazing. Coach D'Amico Ryans, what he did in his rookie season coaching, amazing. They go out, Nico Collins really bursted onto the scene. Tank Dell burst onto the scene. Then, hey, let's go ask Stephon Diggs for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty crazy, right? Last year, their run game, I think they had was it Devin Singletary maybe back there running the ball some? I know they had a running back by committee. I'm forgetting on the other guy's name. Then you go ahead.
Pierce.
Yep, Pierce.
It's Pierce and Singletary.
Yep, Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary. Now you got Joe
Mixon. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you think about upgrading a team, just from the offensive standpoint, when that defense is a problem as well, it gets scary for you, right? It gets scary when you think about Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell, right? So it's gonna be tough. I like the signing that the Tennessee Titans made. They went and I know they got L'Jarius Sneed, like I said, or like you said. We're probably not expecting a ton. Our boy Joe that was on the pod with us, big Titans fan, so he's talking them up a lot. I know they got Calvin Ridley over there on that side as well on the offensive end. Are you sure that the Tennessee Titans can't be a little bit better than maybe we're expecting, or is it kind of one of those things going to come down to quarterback play? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll come down to a lot of things. Obviously, we got to see if Will Levis is that guy. He didn't look great last year, but, he had a couple games where he flashed. Offensive line didn't play great, so, they can play better this year and kind of give us a chance to see what he's really got. They did, add a lot to their receiving core. Obviously, you add Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. You don't have Derrick Henry anymore, but you have him and forget who their other backup is. Yep. So
the rookie from last year.
It's a solid little, two-head running back by committee, and Pollard's kind of better when he can kind of play with another guy. So their offense has some some upgrades, but all depends on that quarterback and that offensive line and what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to come down to a lot of different things. But so I'm assuming we're both saying that the Texans are winning this division, correct? That's pretty simple.
For sure.
How are we feeling about Anthony Richardson coming back to the Indianapolis Colts? Do we think that? How do you feel about Anthony Richardson? Honestly, I saw something today. They're in joint practice with the Bengals, and the Bengals are talking crazy to the guy, saying he can't throw. He just like to run. He throw to a spot. He's one of those guys that, to me, athletically, he's always been extremely talented. But is he a really good quarterback? What do you think? About Anthony Richardson now?
Oh, I mean, when he came out, everybody knew he was a project. Everyone said, he was raw as a quarterback talent, and they obviously drafted him because, like you said, of his athleticism, his dynamic ability to get out the pocket, make plays with his feet, and they pretty much banked on that and tried to develop him as a passer. So he's still young and he's got some time, and he looks he has some moments in those 4 games, even though obviously you want him to stay healthy. He got hurt pretty much in every game before taking out for the season.
Yeah.
He showed a lot of things. He had them 2-0 at one point, and almost had a comeback against the Rams. We'll see what kind of improvements he made, but he's dynamic on with his legs, so they can kind of develop him and his arm, and seeing defenses, they could have a gym. So I respect them taking a chance on it. If they can figure it out, you possibly got an elite playmaker on your hands. And, where the league is going with guys being able to get out the pocket and make plays with their legs, extending plays, you kind of need that in the NFL. So, like I said, if they can develop the passer part, which I think is easier than, the athleticism and, the speed and size that he has at quarterback. So, he played 4 NFL games, so give him some grace.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm a fan of, you have a premier athlete like that. Finding ways to utilize them is really the key, right? We talked about, or people used to talk about Lamar, people used to talk about Jalen Hurts. Both guys that we've seen carve out very, very successful NFL careers at the quarterback position, despite not having the quarterback intangibles, right? At the end of the day, football is a sport where you got to be an elite athlete to be out there on that field. And if your most dynamic playmaker or one of your most dynamic playmakers happens to also be your quarterback, you're in a pretty good spot, man. But with that, now, who comes in last? We got the Texans coming in first. We kind of talked about everybody a little bit, just touched on them. So who do you think realistically comes in last in this division this year?
I think for right now, I'm going to go Titans.
Joe ain't going to like that.
I mean, he's just going to have to face reality. But I could see Jacksonville being last, if Trevor Lawrence kind of doesn't show up. But if he's healthy, I think they'll win enough games that probably the quarterback with the biggest question marks is in Tennessee. I know Anthony Richardson's got to stay healthy, but if he doesn't, they've got Joe Flacco now, who was great, insurance policy for Cleveland when he came in. So it's going to be much better than last year when the Colts had Gardner Minshew out there. So even if Richardson does get hurt, I think they've got a solid backup. What's the running back? Taylor, he's going to be there. Going to be there for the whole season now. They didn't have him at the start of the season. So I think the Colts got a chance to be okay and kind of be in that mix for maybe the last wild card spot last couple of weeks. So Titans seemed like the team on the outside looking at.
Yeah, it's tough because, like you said, basically those other 3 teams outside of Houston, to me, they're all one really bad thing away from just it being bad. And I mean, I guess you can say that for just about any NFL team, right? Like, I don't know how many teams you can say that, but the margin of error is a little bit lower, for the Colts. I like I like the Joe Flacco pickup. Hopefully, hopefully they don't need to turn to him, but if they do, hopefully he can recreate the magic that he had. Like you said, they got weapons. Michael Pittman on the outside. They got Josh Downs, the guy that they drafted last season, as well. Alec Pierce. They got some dogs on the defensive end, so they should be okay. I'm right with you on the Titans. Joe's been talking a lot about them to me. I've been hearing from every angle, right? They got playmakers. in terms of, D Hop and Calvin Ridley. I think they added Tyler Boyd as well.
D
Like I
Hop
said,
isn't there anymore.
or not, it's not D Hop. What am I thinking about?
Calvin Ridley, and I forget who their other receiver is.
It's just Ridley and Boyd.
That's right, Boyd. I'm pretty sure they have someone else.
Nah, D Hop still play for the Titans, bro.
Really?
Remember he got hurt. We was talking about him at the beginning of the year.
I swear he went somewhere else.
Nah, he's still there for now. For now. So they still got that core. But like
he's
you
out
said,
4 to 6 months. So that's
yeah. I mean, he's out for a little bit right now. So that'll definitely hinder them a little bit. But I kind of like you were getting at, man. I just don't think that in terms of quarterback play, they're probably the weakest right now. Defensively, outside of Snead, they're going to need some help. Offensive line for them has never really been great. And then, losing Derrick Henry, that's going to be an adjustment. Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's your guy, but, they got Tony was your guy, right? And last year, Tony Pollard wasn't the Tony Pollard that Nell fell in love with 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And he's not. Tajay Spears, he has some talent. So we'll have to see. They have a lot of guys that are going to have to take a real leap, I think, for them to avoid that last place. I think they can probably get in around 5, 6, maybe 7 wins. But, I think these other teams are going to be tough for them to beat, man. What are our biggest question marks, right? We talked really well about Houston. Let's start with them. What's our biggest question mark surrounding the Houston Texans going into this season?
For me, pretty much, can they build off their breakthrough season last year? Can they take advantage of, C.J. Stroud still being in his rookie contract? And that's one of the reasons they were able to go out and get a Diggs, Joe Mixon, Daniil Hunter on the defensive line. Still got Will Anderson, defensive rookie of the year. So they got a ton of pieces. D'Amico Ryans, looking like a great head coach. So they've got the leadership and the coaching, and seems like they got the quarterback. So, just being able to build through that. Their offensive line was banged up a lot last year. They dealt with a lot of injuries on offensive line, try to make some improvements there. Offensive line is good. It's pretty stacked team. They got some pieces everywhere. Like you said, got a Schultz at tight end. Nico had a breakout year. So, really, can they just stay healthy? Can their offensive line stay healthy? And, just being able to continue to build off of last season.
Yeah, they have a lot over there, right? Jalen Petry's one of my favorite defensive players. They got Derek Stingley Jr. still over there. Will Anderson. They got guys all over the place, right? And you always want to be like, oh, can they put it together? Can they put it together? But it's like, these are professionals, and these are very, very talented players. I don't think they have a single problem. I don't think they have a problem in terms of like hitting a wall of complacency, any of that. I want to see. My biggest question is just, will they be able to win that big game, right? We know who they're staring down. They have lots of talent, but would you right now be willing to put them over the Buffalo Bills? Would you be now willing to put them over the Baltimore Ravens? Would you now be able to say, hey, C.J. Stroud can walk in there and go toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes? You know what I'm saying? So that's really what it's going to be, is how does it all look together? We know how good they are, how exciting they have been, how exciting they will be. And we know they have all the names, but out of all those teams that I just named, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, I might be missing some people. We can throw the Bengals in there with healthy Burrow, even though they got some stuff going on now with Jamar Chase. They just don't have that experience all around, right? But that's just a question. I don't doubt that they will answer the bill. I'm excited to see him. Houston's becoming one of those teams that I might root for on the sneak, man. I might have to add another team to my list. So we're excited for Houston.
Best team in Texas for sure.
That's tough. That's a lot coming from you, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay, so what about those Indianapolis Colts? We talked about Anthony Richardson. You touched on Jonathan Taylor, who's had his own issues with injuries as well. They got Shane Steichen over there as their coach, a guy who has some success, before with the Philadelphia Eagles. But what's the biggest question surrounding these Colts, man?
For me, can Anthony Richardson sustain, this play style and stay healthy? I know Jim Irsay came out the other day and said, they still want him to run and use his legs. Obviously, they want him to be safe and cautious and, not get hurt, but they don't want to kind of take away what makes him so great. And he's dealt with injuries before. He's had a meniscus, had shoulder injuries. So, you just wonder if, he can sustain, his play style and be healthy for an entire NFL season to, kind of be the effective franchise quarterback the Colts want him to be. Got hurt in every game last year, but, like I said, he has some electrifying moments. He's going to have some pieces with, Pittman and Taylor there for the whole year. So it should be an interesting season. But, if he can stay healthy, I think they won. I think they won 9 games last year or 8 games.
They beat us.
That was with Gardner Minshew as their backup. And I think someone else played a couple games for them at quarterback too. But,
Ellinger?
Possibly. I forget who it was. But, not a lot of good quarterback play last year, and they still somehow eked out, 8-9 wins and kind of almost made the playoffs. So, if Richardson can give them, a healthy season and, make plays, I think they got a chance to, possibly win 8-9 games again, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, places. I think he had like you said, he's been injured in college. Now I think it was like he's had like 5, like upwards of 8 to 10 injuries or something just in the last like 4 or 5 years, college included. So, I mean, whenever you have that kind of situation, to your point, they were a fringe playoff team without him, the fringe playoff team with guys that, traditionally, Gardner Minshew is going to start this year for the Raiders, but it's Gardner Minshew. Comparing Gardner Minshew to a guy that you draft first overall for your team, the question is always going to be, how good are we going to be with this guy? How good can we be with this guy? And can we keep him healthy? They got a lot of guys. Jonathan Taylor, take the load off the guy, right? Like, run the ball, let Jonathan Taylor be the bell cow that he is, be the dynamic running back that he is. You have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You got one of the better defensive lines, so trust that defense as well. Just have Anthony Richardson understand, like, look, we did this without you last year. You don't have to come in here and try to be a world beater. Just play good football, be who you are, and we'll go as far as you allow us to go. But what about the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Let's see. Their offensive line, I think that's kind of the biggest question mark for them coming in. Trevor Lawrence was banged up a lot last year. And, most of that is because their offensive line was so poor. They did add Mitch Morse, somewhat up and upgrade, but it'll be better than what they had last year. So, I mean, they're trying, but
yeah, I think I saw some that were like they were bad too this preseason as well.
Yeah, you got to give Trevor Lawrence, got to keep him healthy and got to give him some time to make some plays. They don't have Calvin Ridley anymore, but I forgot who else they added. I know they got Christian Kirk.
They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. He lit my boys up last week.
And they got somebody else, but they got younger and faster at receiver. Maybe that'll help Trevor Lawrence out a little bit. Like I said, you got ETN, maybe, run the ball a little bit more, see if they can rely on the run game. And, they added Armstead defensively. Maybe he can help out that defensive line and, apply some pressure. So, they made some okay moves. I know they got some guys defensively, so I'm not expecting much, but the offensive line plays well. You got Trevor Lawrence playing well. You got ETN, he can run for like 1,000+ yards. Might be able to do something.
Part of me is still not sold on Trevor Lawrence.
It's kind of a big year for him.
Yeah, I
especially
feel like
the way last season ended, even though obviously injuries played a part, but yeah, to start 8-3 and miss the playoffs stuff.
That's pretty bad. And I don't, a lot of that goes on Trevor. He has weapons, and I think the guy you're looking for, the name is Gabe Davis from the Bills. They added him, and then they added him, and they added Duvernay.
He's capable of some crazy games.
Yeah, so I mean, the receiving core, you lose Ridley, but you got those guys. The Brian Thomas draft pick, he looked really good last week. Or he's looked good so far this offseason, rather. So we'll see, but I think it just kind of comes down to Trevor Lawrence. The offensive line definitely plays a role. Like I was saying, I think they were the bottom last year in like pass win rate, pass block win rate, and I think I saw some as well this year just in the preseason. They're the bottom again So it's tough to be a quarterback with no offensive line. Those things go hand in hand. But regardless, we've seen some guys make something out of nothing. So Trevor Lawrence gonna have to showcase that ability, showcase what got him drafted, and what Jacksonville fans continue to get excited about year in and year out for him. And if he can answer the questions, and it's a big year for him, like you said. Now, I mean, if it doesn't happen this year, it might be time to start looking another way. So we'll have to see. But lastly, Tennessee Titans. Biggest question surrounding the Titans.
Kind of the same with the Jags, their offensive line. They had one of the worst offensive lines last year. They added they call him a mastermind, Bill Callahan, with the offensive line on the coaching staff. So, maybe that'll help out. They, drafted a left tackle with their 7th pick, I believe it was, in the draft.
I would.
So, they try to make some improvements on the offensive line, but gotta be able to protect your young quarterback and see what he has.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go to the other side of that, kind of like I did with the Jags. I'm going to Will Levis. Is Will Levis really, is he the guy? Is he good enough, simply put, to get us over the hump? Last year he had some flashes, but he also had some moments where we're like, this is a guy that he was highly touted coming out of college. A lot of people talked about him getting passed on in the draft. Titans take a shot. And here we are. He's your starting quarterback now. There's no turning back. So we always talk about how far an average to above average quarterback can take your team. Even if it's not, it might not be taking you from 6 wins to 11, but having a pretty good quarterback can get you 2 to 3 more wins a season, have you in playoff contention. We got him right now last in the division, so it'll all depend on what Will Levis has. If he's really special, he can maximize what he has. Like I said, Ridley, D-Hop, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. If nothing else, all those guys are really good in the pass game. Get those guys the ball. Try to take some pressure off your defense and make something happen this year. So, we'll see the AFC South. It's gonna be up in the air. We like Houston. I'll be surprised if it wasn't Houston that comes out of this division. But we'll see, man. We're gonna move over to the NFC South. The NFC South ran by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your last year divisional winners. I gotta start off with a question. It hurts me to even have to ask, but it's just commonplace. Is NFC South the weakest division in football?
I would have to say so, right?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Why?
You got the Panthers in that division.
Mm-hmm.
Got the Saints. Got the Bucks.
What's that mean?
I mean, if that's your division winner, yikes.
Same.
Trying to think, yeah. I mean, for sure, you only getting one playoff team in there.
We might sneak 2. We almost snuck 2 last year. We had 3 teams with like 9 wins, 8 wins. How's that the weakest division?
The Saints had the easiest schedule in football.
Well, I don't like the Saints. So
and played in the worst division, and then y'all played in the worst division. So
we had
it kind of
tough
helped. Not
was
really.
Just looking at the schedule.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of cupcake wins in there. Yeah, I mean AFC, can't really say the North. They got some dogs in there. Can't say the West because they got the Chiefs. Even if the rest
Outside
of it is shit. But
I get it.
There's no Chief in the South.
I get it. I agree with you. I just want to give you a hard time. I agree with you. That's why I put the question.
Sorry I had to give you the truth. I'm sorry I had to give you the truth, man.
It's all right. I was hoping that you surprised me, bro. I was hoping. I mean, it's pretty weak. I think when I think about like what makes a division weak, outside of the fact that I don't think we had a team with 10, 11, 12 wins, right? And everybody's kind of middle of the road, and then the worst team is really bad. Not a lot of. I think even more than that, it's not a lot of big names in the NFC South, right? Like there's some guys. You got Mike Evans. He's probably one of the most underrated players ever in history. You know, you got Tyrann Mathieu out there playing for the Saints still. You got Alvin Kamara playing for the Saints. The Falcons made some big moves. They got Jesse Bates. They added Justin Simmons. Matt Judon now. They probably have the biggest names, you know what I'm saying, in the division. The Panthers, I don't know if you can name 5 players on the Panthers right now, if I asked you to.
I could.
All right, let's do it.
So you got Bryce Young, Adam Thielen.
It's getting too hard for you.
It is. I know Chubbard, the running back
Chuba
Chubbard.
Hubbard.
Yeah.
Hubbard, okay.
Miles Sanders.
Is he still there?
I hope so. Didn't he sign a contract there?
I don't know. I think he's still there. Yeah, he's still there. Okay. That's what, 4 or 5?
Damian Lewis.
Is that the lineman?
It is.
Okay.
That they got this offseason.
All right, so you proved my point, right? The division itself, we're not looking at Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert and all these crazy guys that might be in other divisions. But,
they got DeAndre Johnson, too. Forgot about that.
They did. I think he's hurt again already. So,
damn.
But, okay, simple put, who wins the division then now? Since it's so weak, who you got winning?
Coming into it, I was thinking I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna give them some respect. But then I really sat back and thought about it, and it's last season was kind of lucky.
We won a playoff game.
They played the Eagles,
and we took the Lions we lost by 6.
Okay, a loss is a loss.
It's about peaking at the right time. That's what it's about.
Fair enough. I don't think y'all will get to a point where y'all can peak at the right time. The season will be over. And then, Falcons, y'all can win the division. It's possible. But I think if the Falcons stay healthy, I think they got enough talent. I'm not going to say the most. I think they got enough.
Kirk Cousins, Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London.
Yeah.
They got another running back, Algier. They still got Calais Campbell, I think. Matt Judon.
I don't know about Calais Campbell.
AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons. That's the best safety duo in football right there, right?
Yeah.
You said it.
I didn't say it. I'm just yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna go Falcons for right now. In my gut, if everyone's healthy, that's what I feel.
Well, I'd be a fool to get on here, or rather, y'all would be fools to get on here and think I'm gonna say something else other than them Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The division winners this year, or this past season, won division the year before that. This division runs through the Bucks. It used to be the Saints. They used to give us a fight. It was the Falcons for a little bit. Ever since the Falcons lost 28 or blew that 28-3, I always say I feel like some organizations just had that bad juju. I said it about the Bears. I'm going to say it about the Falcons as well. Through hell and high water, some way or another, they won't get it done. Simply, the Bucs will win this division. And here's why. One, continuity, something that the Bucs have not had in a while. We had Brady, but he was on his last leg that last season. Even then, we almost snapped. We have a head coach in place, Todd Bowles. For what it's worth, he is who he is. I accept him for who he is at this point in my Bucs fandom. If nothing else, I know that defense is going to be good. We're going to have the best run defense in the conference. Again, if the Falcons can't run the ball, I'll take my chances with post Achilles tear 36-year-old Kirk Cousins. I'll take my chances. I think Baker Mayfield is comfortable, and I think he will make the case for the best quarterback in the division. Again, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think they'll be the best receiving core in the division again. And I just think
Godwin on a contract year too.
Contract year, new OC. Rashad White in year 2, or maybe it's year 3 for him. But and the real reason is because the Bucs won the division last year with the worst run offense in the history of run offenses, damn near. Offensive line has been addressed. We got a new starting center. We moved a guy from guard to tackle, so we got 2 stud tackles. in Tristan Wirfs and Luke Getsy. We got filled in the left guard spot with our boy Hainsey. Actually, Hainsey is our backup center. So we got the 2 guard spots. They're going to be much improved as well. Whether it's Elijah Klein, whether it's a different guy, I think we got some studs you can put in there, and our run game is fixed. Boom. That makes you instantly better. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. Tough schedule, but I'm gonna take the Bucks, man. I think we got enough. I think the Bucks truly don't get enough conversation. And this is what me and Nell were talking about before we got on here. I don't think they get enough conversation simply because they're the Bucks. That's all I can say. If we were anywhere else and we weren't just the Bucks, people would talk a lot better about this roster we have. This is one of the better Buccaneer rosters, this season.
Yes.
I'm being honest. We have a top 3 safety in Antoine Whitfield. Our biggest problem is our corners. And I'm gonna be honest. If we don't make a move for a corner in the next week, I might lose my mind. We let Stephon Gilmore go to the Vikings. I'm pissed. I'd have took him over Zion. But that's okay. We'll get more into that. Who comes in last? You got the Falcons winning. I got the Bucks winning. That leaves 2 teams. Well, 3 teams for both of us, I guess. For last. So who comes in last now?
I'm thinking the Bucks coming last this year.
There's no way. Why? Go ahead. I know why. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I think Bryce Young is gonna have a second year lead. Think he'll play a little better. Think Baker Mayfield's gonna regress. Yeah.
So you're saying outside of the Bucks, you would take the Panthers next to last?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Saints in that mix too. They could have a bad year. I'm not a believer in Derek Carr
Me neither.
or Dennis Allen, so
I'm actually going to take the Saints to come in last.
it's possible. It's
like I could see Derek Carr being benched by week 5.
And there's not much behind him.
Spencer Rattler.
Good luck.
That's your guy. That's Walt's guy. Nah, that's JoJo's guy. JoJo loves Spencer Rattler. He's
somebody's guy.
And then, also like who they got Olave at receiver, but after him, it gets kind of murky. They got like A.T. Perry they drafted a couple years ago. I think they got rid of Michael Thomas, who's a free agent. Alvin.
Yep.
Alvin's been trying to get out of there for a little minute. They bring in what's his name, Jamal Williams. They still got Taysom Hill getting the ball. I thought they would have let that ship sail when Sean Payton left. They got Marshawn Lattimore, who's a pretty good corner. A lot of people have a lot of love for him, but I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I think the Saints have a real chance to not win it at all. So, what are our biggest questions? Let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. What are our biggest questions surrounding the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, will Kirk Cousins be healthy? He was playing pretty good football with the Vikings, albeit they weren't winning a lot of games, but he was playing good football before he got hurt. We talked about the weapons he's got coming in: Bijan Robinson, Drake London, just a bunch of guys, pretty solid offensive line. Defense, got some names on there. They didn't play lights out last year, but a lot better than people think. So, if they can have a solid year defensively, Kirk Cousins plays at about the regular season clip that we're used to seeing him play with, these amount of playmakers, I think they'll be fine enough to win that division. What you thinking?
I'm thinking, how long before Kirk Cousins don't start? I'm thinking, how many big names do you need? I'm thinking, is the 28-3 curse really over? I got lots of questions for him. I think Kirk Cousins is going to underperform, and I think the Falcons know that. I think that's why they invested in Michael Penix. I think Or I do have another theory that a trade could be happening.
Giving someone 180 million and then being like, all right, they're gonna perform before they even touch the field is like hilarious.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like that kid, like that shouldn't be overlooked. I'm not saying that it's because they don't believe in him, but there has to be at least one person in that building. There's really got to be at least two, because I feel like you got to have somebody to sign off on you making a draft pick like that in the first place. But somebody in that building don't believe in that guy that they talking about. And all I'm saying is, if it's not Kirk Cousins and it is Penix, I like it. I'm looking at big names. They did the same thing last year. I got like 3 questions for them. They went and added Jesse Bates, and they were supposed to be the next big thing. But then everybody said, oh, they were quarterback away. It was Desmond Ritter's fault. Whatever. We'll
Good
see.
excuse.
I mean, it's fair. But I mean, if that's the case, everybody will just blame it on quarterback play. If Baker Mayfield was a little bit better, we probably would have beat the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I do on a serious note, I do want to know, like, I want to know what was the point of the Penix deal. And with that, like, because of that, rather, I think there's something going on with Kirk Cousins. Penix didn't even dress for the last preseason game they played. You got this guy as a rookie quarterback, granted, albeit he's like 25, 26, but he didn't even dress him. And you say, I know what I got in him. That's like, to me, it's just like, okay, something's up. Something's up. I don't know what it is, but something's up.
One more injury for Kirk, and that might be it. So,
I mean, and you gave him, how much was it?
Sacrifices got to be made to, have a quarterback and have a chance to win your division. So,
yeah,
sure, maybe they didn't see a chance to get a Michael Penix beforehand. So you got to just.
I mean, you could be right.
Throw all your chips out there and go get a quarterback.
Hey, we'll see, man. I'm excited. Football season's around the corner. What you got for the Carolina Panthers? Biggest question.
Another one, I guess, did they do enough to surround Bryce Young to kind of show us what he's got? I mean, you added Deontay Johnson. Thielen was okay last year. That was probably his best target. They did get better. Well, at least try to get better in the interior of their offensive line. So I think they'll play a lot better than last year. Question remains to be seen if, it's enough, or, if Bryce can, show the kind of improvements that you expect from a number 1 overall pick. So, that's kind of what I'm looking for Carolina this year.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with, receivers creating separation last season. I think they were like dead last in separation on routes for their receivers. Like you said, they addressed that. Adding Deontay Johnson, they drafted Xavier Legette. I think he might be hurt. Not completely sure. And I won't harp too much on Bryce. Bryce is who he is. He's not a bad quarterback at all. Like you said, if they surrounded him with something, they might be a little bit better. My question more so is that their head coach that they hired, Dave Canales, last year's Buccaneers offensive coordinator, young guy, first year as a coordinator, gets a head coaching job the next year. The Panthers, and I think their owner is Dave Tepper, I think that's his name. They're a mess. He's been firing coaches and hiring coaches and firing coaches. So my question is, did they finally get it right with the head coach and hire? That'll obviously it's remained to be seen. First year head coach, young guy, got a lot of energy, helped get Baker Mayfield going last season. I won't take that away from him. But he did leave a little bit to be desired sometimes as a coordinator. So you bring that guy in to take over your offense, to run your team. But more importantly, you bring that guy in because you think he can help elevate Bryce Young. So my question is, did they get it right with him? If he shows that he's a capable head coach, if he shows that he can bring the best out of Bryce Young, hey, the Panthers might not be competing for last in the division, but they probably still will be. So we'll have to see. New Orleans, biggest question for the Aints. What you got?
Honestly, I don't really have any questions for the Saints. That's how just miserable they are. I guess, I don't know. I don't know. So they want to be mediocre or tank and
That's
get
funny.
a quarterback?
That was my question. That was funny.
I don't know. Like
Yeah, they're in a
I
bad
thought they
spot.
were going to be okay last year. Their defense just kind of just tanked. Defensive line just doesn't get any pressure on the quarterback. Uh, Honey Badger is still a pretty good player, but he's getting up there in age. Um, Jordan Cameron is not the same player he used to be. Or Cameron Jordan, is it?
Yeah, it's Cam Jordan, but Jordan Cameron's
Okay.
not good. He's irrelevant.
But yeah, he only got 2 sacks last year. Derek Carr's, inconsistent. Uh, so yeah, I don't like you said
Yeah,
after Chris Olave, not a lot in that receiver room to really get excited about. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what to expect from the Saints this year.
it, I'm curious as well about the
I
direct.
expect them to be bad, but like they
And
could
the
just
thing
be
about the Saints is
average too.
they very well could either be really, really bad or one of those teams that win some games that they probably shouldn't have, or win enough games and they're looking up and it's like, well, we still have glaring problems, right? That's kind of where they are. I know they had a lot of cap problems. That's why they were talking about moving off of Alvin. That's why they let Michael Thomas go. Cam Jordan's on the back end of his career. He still makes a lot of money. You still got Marshawn. You still got Tyrann. I think they still got Demario Davis. And they got a lot of guys that make a lot of money on that team. Yet the team hasn't performed as well as you would expect in the post Drew Brees era. So, where are you realistically? That's really my question. That's what needs to be answered. We'll see. Obviously every NFL team's goal is go out and win a Super Bowl. That's what they're going to say. That's the goal. But we'll find out pretty quickly, what's going to have to happen. So we have to wrap it up with none other than them Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Biggest question surrounding Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Nell. Let me hear it.
Can Baker give you sustained consistency? Had a career year last year. Career best in yards, touchdowns, completion percentage. Like you said, is he going to be able to repeat that success without, his offensive coordinator who's moved on, and he was also the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks when Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year. So he's done a good job reviving a couple quarterbacks' careers the last couple of years, and Geno kind of didn't have a terrible season, but he regressed a little bit from the year before. So we'll see if Baker can either improve his play or if he'll regress a little bit too. I kind of expect him to regress a little bit, but I think he'll still be solid enough. And I think, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, some improvements on the offensive line, I think he'll still put up solid numbers. But I think as a whole, Bucks will regress just a little bit.
I really wanted to answer your question, but I haven't answered nobody's question. So, I mean, I'll speak to that before I get to my question, rather. That's a good question. That is the $1 million question, or one of the $1 million questions. I will say that our offensive coordinator, Liam Cohn, actually is a Sean McVay guy, comes from the Rams where Baker Mayfield was actually at prior to his Buccaneers tenure. So hopefully Liam Cohn can, add some things to the mix, elevate his play a little bit more. But that is a big question surrounding my Buccaneers. Can he stay healthy? A lot of Baker's issues comes with decision making and health, right? He plays to injury, and then he's out there, he's trying to be a baller and make plays, and sometimes, you can't always do that. So we'll see. But my biggest question is also surrounding that Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary that I talked about. We added Jordan Whitehead to the safety room to go with Antoine Winfield. Two really good safeties. Not mad at all. Jordan Whitehead used to play for the Bucks. Never should have left the Bucks. Came back home. We had Ryan Neal at safety last year. So glad. I don't even know what he does anymore in life, but he's not here anymore. So I'm fine with the safeties. We lost Carlton Davis to the Lions. Now we have Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum opposite of him. That's where it gets a little bit murky. We begin torching in the offseason training camp, preseason. We begin torched. And we haven't even really had our starters playing, but just looking at joint practices. Like I said, the Jaguars, Brian Thomas Jr. was killing us all week. And that's just something that, when you look around the NFL, in order for us to win a Super Bowl, we're going to have to be able to defend against the pass, right? Nobody cares if the Bucs has the best run defense in the NFL or one of the best run defenses if you can just throw the ball on them and get 300, 400, 500 yards every single time. I mean, Jared Goff threw for 300 plus on us twice, right? Like everybody was throwing for 300 yards on the Bucks last year, and then you lose your best corner, and you don't replace him with anybody. You didn't draft a corner, you didn't sign a corner, or you signed Bryce Hall from the Jets, and you signed Tavir Thomas, who now plays corner. I mean, now plays safety. You know, you got Christian Izzy, who was a slot corner last year. Antoine Winfield, who kind of does a little bit of slot work as well. But on the outside, I mean, Jamel Dean, the guy who stays injured, not a big pick, not a big interception guy. You know, he can cover, but he doesn't really get interceptions. He, you know, whatever. But on the other side, Zion McCollum, not the biggest believer in him. And I think that's really our Achilles heel this year. You know, it'll put a lot of pressure on our pass rush to try to help us out with the pass game, which I'm also not 100% in love with. You know, we got some young guys with tools, but, you know, we signed Randy Gregory in the offseason, and the guy didn't even show up to anything, and now he's cut. So he ain't been good since he left. Y'all, I don't know what y'all did to him.
He started tweaking with the guns. I was surprised to see his name get signed anywhere.
Bro, we signed that man, and he did not show. They haven't even heard from Randy Gregory. Nobody even knows. I'll be on the man Instagram, Twitter, trying to see the man alive. There's no proof of life. I don't know what Randy Gregory's doing. So hopefully he's okay. But yeah, you know, having a weak cornerback room, and then, you know, your pass rush, it depends a lot on your scheme, your blitzes, and also the elevation of, you know, some guys that are really young. You know, that's my thing. I would love to see a veteran presence in the secondary for us outside of the safety room. But we'll see, man. That's why we got Todd B, the defensive mastermind. So hopefully he can figure it out for us, and the Buccaneers can hopefully make something shake. But that's going to do it for us on this AFC South and NFC South preview. Hopefully y'all got something out of this one. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully we said something that resonates with y'all. Hopefully I'm right. I mean, hopefully Nell is not right. It would really, really kill me if my Bucks either came in last or didn't win. So either way, if we don't win the division, I'm going to be sick. But the good thing is we are another week closer to the NFL season. Next week, we're going to tackle the most fun division in football, that NFC East, followed by the AFC East, which is also pretty interesting as well in its own right for different reasons. Nell is going to have some really good stuff for you all, I'm sure. I just can't wait. I'm so excited myself.
Don't be.
I'm excited. No, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Nothing to be excited for.
When it's Cowboys football that's coming around, man, it is exciting. Yeah. It is exciting because it means that your weekends will be filled with joy, love, and it's a little bit of anger every now and again. So we'll see. But with that, we're gonna wrap this one up, man. Continue to show love on all platforms. Instagram, you know, follow the Instagram, comment, repost something, like some. Twitter, same thing. TikTok, same deal. YouTube, subscribe, follow, share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you consume your podcast media content, we got it covered. Shout out to my boy Nell on the edits. Continue to do great work, my brother. With that, 2 for 2, Season 3, Episode 53, NFC South, AFC South preview. We out.